Hello, I'm Scott Bogey here with Josh Motsinger ahead of his fight at Fury Challenger Series 13 against Eduardo Tejada. How are you doing today?
Good. I actually got a new opponent. So Eduardo wasn't able to fight, so I'm fighting
Oh yes,
veteran of Fury. Yeah, Cody
Cody
Freeman.
Freeman, isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
And how are you feeling ahead of that fight, and how does that opponent change really affect the preparation?
Yeah, I mean it doesn't really affect it too much. I mean they're different styles,
Yeah,
obviously. Tejada's a little taller. He's a little more lengthier. He's more of a off the bat kind of jiu-jitsu guy, as Freeman is a little bit more shorter, a little more stockier, and he's more like a wrestling catch jiu-jitsu kind of guy. So it doesn't change. The preparation stays the same. I'm
yeah.
putting in the work, putting in a good fight camp, making sure everything is prepared, keeping my diet under control. But as far as the preparation, it pretty much remains the same.
And what has really since changed since that last fight where you were able to get that unanimous decision victory?
Man, so that fight, I feel like I worked on a lot of things during that camp that I wasn't able to showcase. And I think for this camp, I'm going to showcase a lot more of everything I've been working on.
Yeah.
So a lot more striking. Obviously, I can wrestle as well. Pretty much, yeah, pretty much everything. So I think you guys are going to be in for a surprise. Let's just say that.
Well, that sounds great. And how was it being able to fight on that Fury 100 card?
Man, it was awesome. It was awesome. I wish I could have, yeah, I wish I could have, like I said, showed more of what I was capable of.
Yeah,
But I was dealing with a lot of injuries during that fight, and that fight camp was pretty tough. But we were able to kind of push through it. I was living by that faith that I was still, going to get that win and still be able to perform. But uh, it was pretty awesome performing for the fight. But like I said, I did a lot of things that
yeah.
during that fight camp that I didn't show in that fight. So I'm pretty excited to come back for this fight and showcase all of my skills and techniques that I've been learning.
And did it really kind of show that grit that you have, that you can get slightly injured in the fight camp, but you're not going to pull it. You're still going to go into the fight and you can get the win as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I dealt with a few injuries during that camp, and my coach, he was a little worried about me, but I just kept, like I said, I kept that faith. I got a bunch of my good teammates. A shout out to my boy John. He was like, dude, you still win this fight. Just stay away from certain positions, and just kind of having that mindset, like just don't get caught in these certain positions. And I was still able to go in there and fight with, with all my confidence,
Yeah.
and like I said, still get that win. So,
And how big is it to be able to have that support system around you to be able to, while you may not be feeling the best due to having those injuries, they can pick you back up and make you believe that you can still get that win.
yeah, yeah, it's honestly the best support system I have in my gym. Shout out Carolina Combat, shout out to my coach Tom Ziegler, my strength and conditioning coach, Dan Davis from Velocity, all of my teammates, Jonathan Martin, Shamik Harvey, everyone. We're just it's it's just learning between, fighting your ego, and then it's it's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. Like I know I can push through certain situations, but I
Yeah.
also have to be smart about certain situations. And my teammates also, they keep me grounded, and they also give me that confidence. Like, Josh, you can do all these things that, you're capable of. So it's just
Yeah.
going out there, and, I got that picture in my head. So it's up to me to go out there and paint that picture. And my team is behind me, and they know what I'm capable of. So it's all about having that good support system. And that's one thing about Carolina Combat is we're not like other gyms. I know a lot of gyms are kind of very clicky and stuff like that, but our gym, everyone is super close together. It's like a brotherhood. We got Marilia coming up, Henry, like I said, Jonathan, Shamik, Ali, a bunch of good fighters coming up. So it's it's everything. The culture's everything.
And with this card in particular, it just seems like there's a lot of great fighters that are now starting to move into Fury. This Challenger Series card has got a lot of incredible talent on it. You on the card, Antonio Figueiredo, you have Lester Batters Jr., Miko White, the Fury women's titles on the line. So it's not just the number of events that
Yeah.
are getting all the talent, they're spreading it across the board.
Yeah, yeah, it's a huge card, and I'm really excited because Fury, shout to Fury because they're putting on a lot of good fighters.
Yeah,
And I know it's one of the, I guess the lower level shows for Fury, but there's still a bunch of really good fights coming up. One of my buddies, Arton Audrey, is actually fighting on that card as well. He made his pro debut not too long ago, so I'm excited to be on that same card with him as well. And yeah, I mean, small card, big card, either way, it's like it's a fight. It's an octagon, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna do what we gotta do.
and after your last fight, I think I'm correct in saying this. I think Mike Maynard was in the attendance. Did he speak to you afterwards, or?
No, no, he didn't speak to me afterwards. But I think I did see him in the crowd. I think he was sitting beside Eric. So yeah, he didn't speak to me afterwards. Maybe if I would have got like a finish or like a crazy
Yeah,
knockout. And yeah, that's what I'm aiming for this fight. It's just go out there and put on a show and let those let everything fly.
yeah. And then you get this victory. You now move up to 5-0. What are you looking for in the next fight? Are you looking for
Yeah.
maybe a quick one next and then potentially a contender series push, or
Yeah,
what's the plan?
yeah, great question. So I'll actually be going off to work for a little bit after this fight. But I'm gonna let my body recover, heal. I'm gonna get a, like I said, let my body recover, heal, and I'm gonna take a little bit of time off. I'm still train,
Yeah,
but I do want to fight again towards like the end of the summer. Um, and then hopefully, two, three, four more fights. I don't want to rush to contender series.
yeah.
No, I want at least eight, nine pro fights. But if my agent says I'm ready, Jason, he says I'm ready, he gives me the call, then of course I'm gonna step up, right? But I still want like seven, eight, seven, eight to nine, pro fights.
And then
So hey,
also,
and also maybe going after the title as well for Fury. So
yeah,
we'll see
exactly.
where that goes.
And speaking about titles, this weekend's UFC, the featherweight title is on the line. Diego Lopez goes out
Yep.
there, puts on that win. I think that is the first title, that first champion that Fury will have had. How big is that for the promotion?
Dang. Yeah, that would be the first champion. Fury's bringing a lot of guys off of into the
Yeah,
contender series and onto the UFC. I don't even know if Diego went to the contender series. I know he went straight and I think he went straight and fought Mavzar. I'm not sure
yeah,
exactly.
it took a short notice against
Did he?
Mozart.
Okay. Yeah, that would be huge for Fury and honestly just for Diego because I've met Diego, I've talked to him, and I see like the work he's put in, and yeah, that dude's a savage. I think he'll get it done this Saturday, so I'm excited to see that fight. That'd be huge for him, huge for the team, and like I said, also huge for Fury. And then I think more eyes will be on Fury, and we'll be able to see a lot of our upcoming talents from that league.
And then who do you see as being the number one contender afterwards? Obviously, you've got the storyline with Mozart and Diego if he gets that done. You then have Diego. He had a bit beef in the press conference with Yair. Who's
Yeah.
facing Patricio Pitbull this weekend. And then just last weekend, Lerone Murphy. He defeated Josh Emmett.
Mm,
He's back in that
what?
contention.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even watch that Murphy Emmett fight. I need to go back and watch that. Yeah, I mean, all those guys are good. It just depends on what Dana and Sean Shelby and them want. I want to say Mavzar. I know he's fighting Aaron Pico. I don't think.
No, I think it did get confirmed, but then Mozart declined it and said the fight isn't happening.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I don't honestly. Mavzar's a savage. I don't see him going for the title though, just because he doesn't really have a finish rate like that.
Yeah,
I could see the winner of Yair and Pitbull, because Pitbull he was a two-time world champion. But even still, it's just that whole division stacked,
Yeah.
especially since Ilya moved up. So I'd probably say the winner of Yair and Pitbull, especially because there's
Um,
beef now with those two guys.
and
Yeah,
what
that
did
camp.
and what did you make of Ilya vacating that title? I think it didn't get announced properly, but the UFC Spanish version kind of leaked that he's fighting with Oliveira.
Oof, man, that would be a crazy fight. That'd be a crazy fight. I think, man, I think Ilya and Charles would be a heck of a fight. Charles probably needs to move his head a little bit more because he does get
Yeah,
hit a lot. And Ilya is one of those guys where it's like you definitely don't want to get hit, especially when you get caught up to the fence. He throws that combo and he's just so good at finding your chin. It's that's one thing about fighting taller guys too with Ilya is like he knows where your chin is. The taller guy has to like find it. But that's a crazy fight. I'm curious to see how that'll play out, especially because Ilya's a good wrestler. We haven't seen much of his ground game,
yeah,
but we know he can wrestle. We know he's a black belt as well. And then Oliveira is like a berserker. He just goes forward the whole time. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out. Obviously, the winner has to fight Islam like right away, but I think Ilya will probably get it done. It's hard to bet against Ilya.
yeah. And then speaking on more of your last fight, like you're saying, you did come in with a wee bit of few injuries, but how did you feel like that fight went for you?
I thought it went good. I mean, obviously, I got the win,
Yeah,
but looking back, it's just like I could have done just so much more in that fight. And then obviously just going for the finishes, and that's one thing that's changed in my mind is just going out there, putting that pressure on, and finding finishes, and just keeping that spirit, calm but sharp and ready to just go all the way, looking for that finish and looking for that knockout, looking for that submission, and just putting that pressure on. So, like I said, this fight, just gonna let everything fly, and yeah, there'll be fireworks. Fireworks. It's gonna be an exciting fight.
and was there anything that he really came in there with that surprised you?
Oh, Isaiah,
Yeah,
not not much. I thought he was gonna throw a lot more kicks. We did a lot of kick counters because his previous fights he threw a lot of low kicks, left high kicks, right high kicks. So I thought he was gonna throw more kicks, but he's also probably worried about me catching it and taking him down. So there's that. And I thought his wrestling defense was gonna be, I think he was gonna try and wrestle more. Uh, but I think a few times he actually pulled, I would shoot in for takedown, and then he'll kind of go to guard and play more jujitsu, which doesn't surprise me. I just thought, he would have a little bit more wrestling
yeah.
defense.
And like we
Other
were
than that,
saying,
I mean, he's the same guy I saw.
yeah, and like you were saying, you were wanting that fight later on in the summer. Is there an opponent that you're wanting, or are you just letting Eric sort that out? You'll accept whoever he brings in front of you.
Honestly, yeah, whoever he puts in front of me, I mean, a lot of those guys, especially in Fury at 145, a lot of those guys are really good. And you gotta fight those guys eventually, and
Yeah.
you might as well fight them now before you go to the UFC and just test that warrior spirit. Might as well do it now and see what you're capable of. So whatever name he throws at me, honestly, really doesn't matter. I'll be prepared, and my team will be prepared.
And how is the environment in the camp so far? Because also, like you're saying, your teammates are in
Yeah.
training as well for fights. Does that just make it a lot easier to be able to have those sparring partners who are willing to go 100% because they're training for their fights?
Yeah, we have a few guys in camp right now, but nothing too much. I know there's two other teammates fighting the weekend I'm fighting.
Yeah.
Um, actually, three other teammates. Anthony Roberts fighting for a title. My boy Hamza, he was a former NFL Jet, a football player. He's making his debut, and my boy Ariel is making his MMA debut. Other than that, everyone gives me a really good look from from what my opponent brings to the table, and they give me a good look. I know that they can push me and I can push myself as hard as I can in my camp to make sure I'm well prepared. So whatever comes in the fight, I know I'll be prepared because I've dealt with everything physically and mentally in that camp. So, and that just gives me that much more confidence to have those teammates to be able to push you while you're training. That way, when you get to the fight, you just got that much more confidence.
Exactly. And once
Yep,
you be able to get that stoppage and get that victory, how are you celebrating?
man. A lot of my family's coming down for this fight, so I'm pretty excited. A lot of family and friends. Probably go grab some pizza, some food, um, some cookies, and then probably just get some drinks and just hang out. Just eat a bunch of food. Might get hammered a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. It's been a tough camp, and cutting weight's never fun. So that's pretty much how I'm going to celebrate. Food and brewskis with the family.
So just go to the store and just raid all the cookies to all on the shelf,
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
shopping cart.
dude. Yeah, Scott, I've been craving like everything, bro. Like cookie crumble, insomnia cookies, cheesecake, just everything, man. But hey, you know what's better than cookies? Championship cookies. So it's just sacrifice.
Well, you'll be able to get that belt very shortly, and you can get some championship cookies with that. And hopefully, the store will be able to give you some for free as well.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Hope so.
Well, if you were to go into that fight and be able to, blank canvas, what are you getting him out there with?
Sorry, so what am I getting him out there with?
Yeah, so if you could do anything you want, a spinning wheel kick, Peruvian
Mm,
necktie, what is it?
I don't want to give too many secrets, but let's just say I'm gonna get my hand raised with any means necessary at the end of the day.
Well, make sure you tune in to watch. It's going to be got Fight of the Night written all over it, and you can see Josh pick up another victory on his way to getting that belt.
Let's
Is there
go.
anything else you're wanting to add or anyone you're wanting to shout out?
Yeah, shout out to all my sponsors and shout out to my team, Carolina Combat, Force and Fitness. Shout out to, like I said, everyone on my team, Jonathan Martin, Shamik Harvey. A lot of people have fights coming up. Henry, Hamza, Ariel, Anthony. I know Morelli is fighting. Shoot. Hey, it's gonna be a good year. It's gonna be a good year. But watch out for my boy Jonathan Martin and Shamik Harvey. They are going to be in the OC very soon. A shout to my sponsors as well. Rudy Heating and Air, Carolina Warrior TV, Blacklight Tattoos, Cancel Culture, and Sachan, Robinson Tree Service, Rough and Rowdy. They sponsored me. Shift Sales and Marketing, a Charlotte athlete, making sure my body's good to go for the fight. Almost at Peace. Shout out to Almost at Peace. Ace Roofing, and then Manolos in Fort Mill. They get the best haircuts. Look at this. I think it's fresh. So,
Well, that
and
sounds
that's it,
great.
man. That's it.
Well, make sure you go and watch the UFC Fight Pass. You'll be able to watch his fight and get that victory. Thank you for coming on today as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott.